Hello and welcome to Game Day U. We are the only weekly OU football pregame show in Oklahoma on TV. Each week we will cover all things Sooner football, OU's opponent, the Big 12 Conference, and more. I'm your host, Kenzie Eiserman, and I'm joined with Melina Samir, Brig Bates, and Stone Weber. Now, after the back-to-back on-the-road losses, the Sooners found redemption at home, but the question last weekend was, could they take that energy and win on the road? Dillon Gabriel threw a dot of a 3-yard pass to true freshman Nick Anderson for a touchdown to kickstart the first 3 minutes of the first quarter. Jaden Gibson made another star appearance last weekend as he caught a 27-yard pass from dime time to put the Sooners up 14-7. Tied just before half, Zach Schmidt kicked a 23-yard field goal to hand OU the lead. Heading into the second half, both teams were tied, just under 6 minutes left on the clock. BYU throws a ball into Billy Bowman Jr.'s arms to who you think would hand it back off to the Sooners. Wrong. He takes it 100 yards down the field to give the Sooners the advantage 24-17. Gavin Sawchuk rushed in the Sooners' final touchdown of the game. The road curse was broken after this weekend in Provo. Sooners win 31-24. In the second half, Dillon Gabriel was out with an injury, allowing Jackson Arnold's moment to arrive. And speaking of Gabriel, Venables announced today that he expects him to play in this weekend. And in Gabriel's place last weekend, the true freshman threw for 33 yards on 5 of 9 passing and ran for 24. Arnold said that nerves were one thing, but stepping up for his teammates was what he needed to do.
Yeah, a little nervous, naturally, I think. To be nervous in that situation, but, I just got to take a deep breath and calm down. It's super important. For games like this, you got to go out and you got to go out and help the team win. We're in the fight for a Big 12 championship right now. If we lose today, we were out of that. So, the entire week, just knowing I am one snap behind, just got to keep that mentality throughout the entire week.
Billy Bowman saved the day for the Crimson and Cream as he recorded the third 100-yard pick six in program history. Here's Bowman's breakdown of the initial plan of the game-changing play for the Sooners.
We got down there with our backs against the wall, and they're not in till they're in. But anyways, I was supposed to blitz, and I seen a man for BYU wide open. And so I just said, forget it. I'm not going to blitz. And then I went to cover him, got my eyes back, and the ball was right there. I was looking inside at the quarterback, then I looked outside. I seen he wasn't covered. I ran straight to him, and he just came right there.
And true freshman Jackson Arnold stepped up big when Dillon Gabriel went down, and he made a clutch decision on his own with the game on the line. Here's wide receiver Jaden Gibson on Arnold's audible that helped clinch the win.
He audible, he just audible the play checked from, we had something, I don't know what play it was specifically. We had some downfield play called, it was third and short, and he checked it to slants, and that might not seem like much, but just for him as a freshman to go into the game and be confident enough to check a play from what the OC called to what he thinks is best, and then deliver on that, get the first down and ice the game. It's just little things like that I see in him that I know he's going to be a great player, and that just shows an example of what I just said. That's one of the ways that he's definitely grown since I've met him.
Let's talk about the backfield. Gavin Sawchuk rushed for 107 yards on Saturday against BYU, his third 100-yard game in a row, and at this point solidifying himself as the starting running back. And with one game to go, Sawchuk has found his footing.
Early in the season, we didn't break a ton of tackles, and at times we have, but consistently that second and that third level have not been our friend there in running the football. And but late in the game, that's when you want to be your strongest. Late in the season, that's when you want to be your strongest, and so couldn't come at a better time.
Coming up after the break, Game Day U reporter Emily Faith got an exclusive insight to a major part of game days at the Palace. Stick around to hear more.
Did you know that trash, like plastic bottles and fast food wrappers, can carry germs and bacteria? When these items are tossed in the street, they eventually find their way to a river or lake and have a negative impact on aquatic life. Keep our waters clean by putting your trash in the bin. For more information, visit bit.ly/Norman Stormwater.
Here's the thing about Oklahoma. Highest temperature on record, 115 degrees. Lowest temperature, 63 degrees below freezing, with the longest stretch of time below freezing at 282 hours. 282 hours below freezing in Oklahoma? Severe unpredictable weather is nothing new in Oklahoma. It's just a fact of living here. That's why there's No Wait Weather on YurView Channel 3. We won't tell you what to expect. We'll show you all day long.
Meet the Scan, a simple procedure whose mission is to detect lung cancer early.
I'm here to save you!
But I feel fine.
That's great, but you may still be at high risk for lung cancer.
Oh man, that's a new fence.
If you smoke, early detection could save your life. Learn more at savedbythescan.org.
Welcome back to Game Day U. There are a lot of key factors that make game days in the Palace so historical. Game Day U reporter Emily Faith takes us inside the spark that lights up the Palace at night. Check it out.
There's always a lot of actioning happening during game days in Norman, and I don't just mean on the field. The OU Pyrotechnics team helps the Sooners put the boom in Boomer.
From red and white fireworks to the smoke that leads the Oklahoma Sooners out of the tunnel, the Pyrotechnics team at OU lights the fuse on game day energy in Norman. Robert Munsey, the director of the fireworks team at Munsey Enterprises, says his family's business has been working with OU for almost 20 years.
On a game day, a football game day, we'll have 12 people, 12 of our pyro family here working on the different sites, trying to make sure we get it all done safely. A normal game, we'll have a little over 120 fuses that get lit. A game like last week where we have extra activity for the finish, or you'll have another 50, 60 of them going off.
It's no secret that OU football is the pyro team's biggest show, and they have the production down to a science.
We shoot from 3 different locations, both scoreboards. Of course, we intro the team as they come out. On the field, we have flames, we have the lights going on. There's 50, 60 hits on the field where their players are running through just to get that attention there, grab that attention at that point. Same time, we're also shooting off the north and the south scoreboards, just trying to give the attention, the excitement, get the crowd involved, all the fun stuff there.
The game of football itself may be entertaining, but adding some razzle-dazzle to the production of the game is what really captivates fans.
I think it is the attention, the excitement, what just happened. You're talking, you're on your phone, all of a sudden they jerk up and they see it's the attention for us is what we're looking at.
As you can see, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes to make the game day energy really pop here in Norman. Reporting live from Oklahoma Memorial Stadium, Emily Faith, Game Day U.
Thanks, Emily. If there's one thing Oklahoma fans are passionate about, it's their quarterbacks. Game Day U reporter Kaylee Jo Hummel was at SEC Media Days in Nashville, Tennessee in July, where she talked with a former Sooner quarterback.
A familiar face to Sooner fans, Spencer Rattler knows how to win in the Big 12 and now in the SEC. This past season, he led the Gamecocks to an 8-5 record after throwing for 18 touchdowns. The biggest difference between the two conferences for him? Competing against the best of the best every weekend.
I mean, football is football at the end of the day, but this conference is definitely the physicality. You can tell the difference. You're playing the best players every single week. Like I said, this is the closest thing to the NFL, and this is why I wanted to come here to compete with the best and improve myself as a player, and just, yeah, I mean, it's been great.
The quarterback's journey to the SEC looked a little different than Oklahoma's.
Obviously, I knew Coach Beamer for some years now. He was with me at OU. I knew he was a great coach, great person. So that was number one. Another one was I wanted to play against the best competition, like I said, and prepare myself, obviously. And then I just wanted to I also transferred here with Austin Stogner, who was my teammate. That made it easier, and he ended up going back to OU. But yeah, like I said, I just wanted to be playing against the best and be with the best coaches. That's it.
Rattler even gave his own advice to OU quarterbacks as they move into the SEC.
Just be ready to play some of the best defenses every single week, prepare at a high level, and enjoy it.
Oklahoma joined South Carolina in the SEC starting in 2024. Reporting from SEC Media Days in Nashville, Tennessee, Kaylee Jo Hommel, OU Nightly.
Thanks, Kaylee. When we come back, we'll discuss the top Big 12 games to watch, but also OU's opponent on Friday, the TCU Horned Frogs. We'll be right back.
To Sophia and Gabriel. Even though these old knees can't follow on your adventure to the forest today, these flowers represent my love. These stitches and threads join us together. And wherever you see a flower, a bird, a beautiful tree, know that my love is with you.
Make the forest part of your story at a park near you. Find one at discovertheforest.org.
The central and midwestern U.S. averages more than 850 tornadoes each year, and lately, the number of floods has been rising in the region too. So chances are, there will be more twisters and floods near here again. And between school, sports, and social lives, chances are, you won't be with your kids when it happens. Will they know what to do? Ready.gov/kids has all the educational tools and information to make the conversation easy. When the time comes, chances are they'll feel prepared, not scared. So talk with your family today.
Thanks for sticking with us, and welcome back to Game Day U. Game Day U reporter Brig Bates talked to the 2023 national champion runner-ups TCU Horned Frogs at Big 12 Media Days over the summer.
The TCU Horned Frogs were 5-7 2 seasons ago, but with the arrival of head coach Sonny Dykes, TCU dominated the Big 12, making it all the way to the national championship. But people are still wondering if TCU is a one-hit wonder. Dykes and the Frogs knew it was a dream season, but they have to keep moving forward.
I think the big thing is going to be, can we do the same thing this year? And then as coaches, for us, the onus is going to be, okay, here's the pieces to the puzzle. Now we have to put this thing together. And I think that's always the challenge is we've got enough good players to have a very good team, I think. And we got to put them in the right spots and develop them and bring them along and manage and do all the things that you have to do and make all the right decisions to make sure that you're putting the best players on the field when you play Colorado week 1 and you're putting them in the best situation that you can to be successful. And that's really our job as coaches. And then they got to go out and do it. And so, there's a lot of things that have to happen between now and then. It's fun. Fall camp is always fun. You watch some guys emerge and some guys that you think are ready aren't ready, and some others that you think aren't ready are ready. And like I said, in our job's to put all the pieces together and make the puzzle fit.
The Oklahoma Sooners will look to bounce back from a 55-24 loss to TCU in Fort Worth, but this time they'll have home field advantage. Reporting from Arlington, Texas, Brig Bates, OU Nightly.
Now in studio, what do you guys think the Sooners or even Sooner Nation needs to know about the Horned Frogs?
Kenzie, the Horned Frogs are making leaps and bounds in the run game as Amani Bailey leads the unit with a little over 1,000 rushing yards, averaging 5.2 yards per carry. The Sooners defense will have to work to stop Bailey's frog legs if they want to get ahead on Friday.
And Josh Hoover and the Frog offense is a high-octane air raid. Teams wish they could build the Hoover Dam to stop the Frogs offense, who rank 14th in total offense, 9th in passing offense, and they go heavy tempo with the 6th most plays per game.
And TCU might have an explosive offense, but moving to the other side of the ball, this TCU defense has slowed down a lot since their national championship appearance last season, ranking 86th in total offense, giving up over 5 yards a play and 390 yards per game.
Now moving on to some other Big 12 games. Number 21 Oklahoma State faces BYU on Saturday at 2:30. Oklahoma State struggled and fought hard against Houston but came out with a win. BYU did the same but took a loss in the end versus the Sooners. Saying that with the home field advantage, I have the Cowboys lassoing the Cougars.
And number 7 Texas welcomes Texas Tech into their house Friday. Last week the Red Raiders rode away with a close win against UCF and became bowl eligible. And the Longhorns lassoed Iowa State, but I expect the Orange to be on top today on Friday.
And the Rock Chalk Jayhawks roll into Cincinnati. The Bearcats, they might only be 3-8, but it's a night game at Nippert Stadium in Stone. We saw the Sooners struggle against Cincinnati. Expect that place to be rocking, and I really think Cincy pulls off the upset to put Kansas down 3 losses in a row.
And one of the games this weekend, OU fans, they need to be looking out for Iowa State going up against Kansas State. If Texas Tech were to pull off the upset against Texas on Friday, the Sooners then need the Cyclones to beat the Wildcats to get into the Big 12 championship. So multiple games to look out for to help OU make that Big 12 championship.
Now, when it comes for what and who to watch between the Sooners and the TCU Horned Frogs, we'll share what we think when we come back.
Prepared as your family if a tornado shows up at your doorstep, or a flood, or a hurricane. You can't just turn away a natural disaster. That's why it's important to go to ready.gov/plan now. It has the tools and tips you need to make an emergency plan with your family. So if disaster comes knocking, let's go. You'll be ready to help keep your family safe.
It's just a pizza.
Yes. Make a plan today.
It all can get so out of control. Sometimes you can lose your faith, you can lose your mind, lose your grip, get stripped of your pride till you don't know how you're gonna stay alive. Hey, hey, I got you. I will give you what you need, and I'll be right there. I got you back. I got you.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
Thanks for staying with us. We will now highlight our who or what to watch for the Sooners game versus TCU. So let's break it down. OU's defense has had their moments, but for the most part, all season has proven they are the strength of this program this year. For example, last game, OU held BYU to 36% on third downs, and the Sooners have held each of their 11 opponents to 42% or lower on third down conversion rate, and has held 7%. A 30% conversion rate. Standouts like Kendall Dolby, Danny Stutzman, and like I mentioned earlier, Billy Bowman Jr. have all been key in the Sooners' outcomes. OU needs to continue this sturdy defense and this third down conversion trend because they will finish the regular season play 10-2 if they do.
All season, OU has been on the search for a game changer at RB1, but Sooner Nation, tune into the Gavin Sawchuk Show. After his breakout performance in last season's Cheez-It Bowl, he has been on a steady incline, recording not 1, not 2, but 3 straight games with 100-plus rushing yards, averaging 7.2 yards per carry and 2 touchdowns. The Horned Frogs actually are ranked 86th in total defense, so Sawchuk and the offensive unit will make them work to stop the run. I count on the Crimson and Cream to riff-ram TCU 39-24.
And the Sooners just can't seem to escape the bite of the injury bug. OU has lost key starters in Gentry Williams, Danny Stutzman, and Dylan Gabriel, who's been using his legs a lot this season. But the hits add up. DG taking a hit right here and leaving the game, bringing in true freshman Jackson Arnold. The Sooners have lost multiple guys across the season, including Justin Harrington, in case you forgot. But guys across the board have stepped up, and Brent Venables believes both Gentry Williams and Dylan Gabriel will be ready. Sooners pull out a tight one at home, 34-28.
Yeah, and Brig, let's talk about another guy in the secondary. We've been talking about him all show, Billy Bowman. What is he going to do on Friday against the Cougars? He had 9 total tackles, 7 solo tackles, and a pick 6 on top of that. The junior from Denton, Texas now has 5 interceptions on the season, the second most in the country, and with 2 pick 6s on the year, he's shown he takes over once he gets the ball in his hands. Bowman will need to have another monster game on Friday against this potent TCU offense. I think Bowman will have his hands full on Friday, but I think OU comes out on top in a thriller 35-31.
Now coming up after the break is my favorite part of the show. There will be a new set of faces coming in to pick the country's top college football games. You won't want to miss it.
To Sofia and Gabriel. Even though these old knees can't follow on your adventure to the forest today, these flowers represent my love. These stitches and threads join us together. And wherever you see a flower, a bird, a beautiful tree, know that my love is with you.
Make the forest part of your story at a park near you. Find one at discovertheforest.org.
Did you know that trash, like plastic bottles and fast food wrappers, can carry germs and bacteria? When these items are tossed in the street, they eventually find their way to a river or lake and have a negative impact on aquatic life. Keep our waters clean by putting your trash in the bin. For more information, visit bit.ly/Norman Stormwater.
The central and midwestern U.S. averages more than 850 tornadoes each year, and lately, the number of floods has been rising in the region too. So chances are, there will be more twisters and floods near here again. And between school, sports, and social lives, chances are, you won't be with your kids when it happens. Will they know what to do? Ready.gov/kids has all the educational tools and information to make the conversation easy. When the time comes, chances are they'll feel prepared, not scared. So talk with your family today.
The family's visit to the forest inspired a beautiful question. Mother, mother, am I a tree? You tell me to stand tall. You tell me to stay rooted. I think I am a tree. My child, of course you are. But what kind of tree will you be? The kind to hug or the kind to climb? Doesn't matter which you choose, so long as you choose to be a tree that's kind.
Make the forest part of your story at a park near you. Find one at discovertheforest.org.
How prepared is your family if a tornado shows up at your doorstep, or a flood, or a hurricane? You can't just turn away a natural disaster. That's why it's important to go to ready.gov/plan now. It has the tools and tips you need to make an emergency plan with your family. So if disaster comes knocking,
let's go.
You'll be ready to help keep your family safe.
It's just a pizza.
Yes. Make a plan today.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
Welcome back to my favorite part of Game Day U, where we'll discuss the country's top games today and give our picks on who will win. I'm now joined by Kaylee Carnine, Ben Dacu, and Blake Mullen. Now starting off with a Big 12 game, Texas Tech hits the road to face number 7 Texas on Friday at 6:30. The Red Raiders are on a 3-game win streak, and Texas hasn't lost since OU beat them in October. Saying that, will Texas Tech knock off the Longhorns?
Yeah, who's the better Texas, guys? I've got Longhorns by a long shot. Tech has some firepower with the second best RB in the Big 12, but the number 1 scoring defense in the Big 12 is going to put out the Taj Brooks flame.
The name of the game is quite simple for the Longhorns. Win and in. You win, you go to Arlington and you play whoever in the Big 12 championship. And if Quinn Ewers is healthy, that's all they needed to win over the Red Raiders. If they do that, easy cooking.
First pick of the game, you're both already 0-1. That's impressive. I love this Red Raiders team. We talked about it. They have won their last 3, and it all starts with halfback Taj Brooks, one of the best running backs in the Big 12. I think they're going to play spoiler, maybe a little help from the officiating, but they're going to get it done in Austin.
Now staying in the Big 12, number 21 OSU hosts BYU in Stillwater Saturday at 2:30. Oklahoma State is 5-1 at home, so will the Cougars be able to knock off the Cowboys on their home turf?
Y'all, it's still all about Ollie. Gordon is gonna gallop through an inconsistent BYU defense. OSU doesn't have room to make mistakes after that slip up against UCF if they want to make in on the Big 12 title game. 4 consecutive losses are gnawing at the Cougs. And here comes number 5.
BYU is playing for bowl eligibility. They're playing for their lives. And after that inspired effort against OU, I liked what I saw. I think they're going to beat the Cowboys in a massive upset in Stillwater. OU gets the help they need to get back to Arlington.
Bad pick again, Ben. You're right. It's the Ollie Gordon show. We saw Gavin Sawchuk. He just destroyed this BYU defense. What is the best running back in the nation going to do? He's going to feast. I think it's going to be a close one, but Oklahoma State gets the job done.
Okay, now moving on to the other OSU. Huge implications as number 2 Ohio State plays number 3 Michigan Saturday at 11. Both teams remain undefeated on their season, but only one can stay that way. Who will come out on top?
The Wolverines are whimpering in the doghouse without boss man Jim Harbaugh. They doggy paddled their way through the Maryland game last week, barely winning 31-24. The Ohio State Buckeyes are gonna buck them off. They don't have to cheat to win.
Oh, that's another L on Maryland's schedule. I haven't been very impressed with either side starting quarterback. J.J. McCarthy hasn't thrown for a touchdown in multiple weeks, but in an old school slugfest, Michigan is better equipped with Blake Corum at running back, and the Wolverines are going to make it 3 straight against the Buckeyes, even without Jim Harbaugh.
I think Ryan Day, he might be coaching for his job in this one. The easiest way to get fired in Columbus, you lose to the team up north 3 straight years. He's going to do just that. This Michigan team, they're simply more physical, number 1 defense in the nation, plus have one of the best running backs in the nation in Blake Corum. I like Michigan big.
Now finally, the Sooners are back at home for their final home game of the season, taking on the TCU Horned Frogs Friday at 11. Will the Crimson and Cream remain undefeated at home, or will the Horned Frogs take home the win?
Last pick, boys. You better be done being delusional. TCU quarterback Josh Hoover has been vacuuming up the crumbs of this season's disappointments lately. But on the Sooner side, whether it's Dylan Gabriel or Jackson Arnold, they get revenge with this rematch.
More like horned frauds. No matter what Gabriel's status is, I expect a lot more Jackson Arnold with his red shirt officially burned. But I think the Sooners are going to be riding Gavin Sawchuk all the way to Brent Venables' first 10-win season as a head coach.
Yeah, you touched on it. Not only did they lose last season, QB1 got knocked out. Dylan Gabriel, we saw him out on his back in that one. I think it's a massive revenge game. No matter who the QB is, whether it's Dime Time or Jackson Arnold, they're going to feast on a very bad Horned Frogs defense. I like OU big in this one.
Now, this is our final regular season show, so thank you for tuning in to Game Day U. Have a fun and safe game day weekend.
Prepared as your family if a tornado shows up at your doorstep, or a flood, or a hurricane. You can't just turn away a natural disaster. That's why it's important to go to ready.gov/plan now. It has the tools and tips you need